Yo, Icon Nation, what it is, man, it's your boy, Erdy G.
What up, y'all? It's Nick White.
And this is another episode of the Toxic Icon Podcast. Yeah, we back in the studio.
Man, look, this episode is very important, right? We talked about it for a minute, and we experienced a lot this haunted house season, but this is dedicated to one of our, if not the favorite event of ours, which will be Universal's Halloween Horror Nights. But this year, we did something different. We went to both.
Back to back.
Both coasts.
Back to back.
So you know how we got to do it. It's rapid fire.
Hey.
You can pick. We can go top 5 houses from Orlando, and then your top 5 from Hollywood will circle back, or we can do 3, and we can just kind of break it down. What you thinking?
Top 5 overall.
From this year, though.
Yes.
All right.
Overall.
Yerdy, kick it off.
My number 1, Insidious in Orlando.
Okay.
Like, Nick, you know I don't get scared, bro. That motherfucking house.
No, that shit was legit.
Hey, that house, it was honestly, out of all the years I've been going to HHN, that was the longest house I've been through. And that's the only house that had my heart beating through my chest. I was like, what the fuck, bro?
It was like that.
I'm talking about both coasts had my heart beating through my chest. Orlando was more scarier. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy because overall, the vibe of LA was give you a heart attack.
Right.
But yeah, definitely Insidious is number 1. Number 2, I would have to go with Texas Chainsaw.
Fire.
Even though me and that franchise, we don't see eye to eye.
That's fair.
The house was crazy. It smelled like shit and raw meat.
It did.
And it's just the aesthetic of it being the whole, of it having the multiverse elements, so to speak. Because it had all 9 different iterations of Leatherface and also the characters.
Yeah.
Leading up to that kill with the sliding door.
That got me. For sure.
Number 3, for me, I would have to say, this is a hard one because I was thinking on the way here. Number 3, I would have to say the Triplets of Terror because it was Orlando's one true slasher house. And on top of that, like it kind of walks you through the story of those 3 kids and how they wanted to just keep on reenacting that first kill every 10 years.
The storyline to that haunted house was insane.
My only gripe was that they didn't have. Well, we agree on this. They didn't have.
I already know what you're going to say.
Yeah, they didn't have the podcast playing while you're in the queue line.
And they should have played the podcast story because that literally told the story of the haunted house, and to go through one scene where you only get a piece of that story. Whereas if you stood in line for 45 minutes, you get the entire story.
Yeah, and then
when you go in, you get, the full thing.
I mean to cut you off, bro. But
no, you good.
It's like also like it's kind of based on what people like now, true crime.
Right.
So yeah, number 2, this really should have been higher. I'm sorry, number 4. This should have been higher. The Weeknd.
Okay.
So After Hours Nightmare, I honestly believe was scarier.
I got some thoughts about that, but I agree with what you're saying though. I get what you're saying.
But see, Nightmare Trilogy, man, it's like the storytelling is top tier.
Absolutely.
It's unmatched. Like John Murdy, The Weeknd. I don't know if they work with The Weeknd directly or his team or his producers.
Sure they did.
But like that storytelling, like you cannot beat it.
I feel like The Weeknd was definitely involved because it had such a detailed storytelling like his albums have. And I feel like that, that definitely pushed
Took my breath.
Right.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's my shit.
Oh, man. And number 5 was, I honestly don't remember the name of it. It was the zombie one in L.A.
Death Valley.
Yeah, the zombie outbreak one. Yeah, Dead Exposure. That's what it was. Like, I'm not even a fan of zombie shit. But they took, I would say, if 28 Days Later and Planet of the Apes was one movie, this would be it.
It definitely had that. And it was on point from as soon as you walked in. Like there was no graduate build up. There was none of that.
Yeah, but
that was the theme of LA this year.
Even the queue line was dope.
Yeah.
Like you had the van that was crashing to the lab.
Mm-hmm. That was real cool. Real cool.
So, yeah,
well,
that's my 5.
Here we go. Coming in at the 5 spot for me would be Death Valley.
Okay.
I thought that this house was exceptional. I just can't put it as high up as the other ones I'm going to mention, but I thought it was dope. I enjoyed it. I thought that this was an original that was definitely slept on when they announced it during spec season. A lot of people, that's cool, but why the fuck do we need that? You know, it's like people.
That's how I was. Yeah.
People definitely gave that narrative to it, but dope house. Coming in at number 4 for me would be Orlando's A Quiet Place.
Okay.
A Quiet Place was one of them houses when it got announced, like I said, just like the previous house I mentioned, everybody was very much so, well, what are they going to do with it? This is quiet. How do you drive the narrative? Okay, they're going to use American Sign Language and they're cool, but how is that going to scare me as a guest going through the haunted house? I want to say I went through this house 3 times while we were down there. 3?
Maybe 4, because I know we did it.
We did it a couple of times.
We did it 2 times in Orlando. We did it the first night when we didn't use Express, and then the second night when we had Express, we did it.
Right.
Or LA, I'm pretty sure it might have been 3 times.
All I know is the very first run through that I had with it when we all went through it.
In
Orlando. That shit was so on point, and it was because
that hallway, bro.
And it was because the crowd that we were lucky enough to go through with bought into the storyline.
Yeah, them dumbasses in LA.
Yeah, it was just a lot of bullshit going on out there, but everybody was quiet, which is what you need to push it. And the only sound effects that we had was the animatronics when they would show up.
You know, I noticed that the puppets reacted to sound.
Yeah, or I don't know if they had people behind there or if it was motion censored on sound. But either way it goes, it was put together so well, though. And I thought that house was amazing. I thought that was a great IP, and I think that people should give it its flowers a little more because I know people are 50-50 on it even after the conclusion of the event. That's fine. But it was dope. I loved it.
It should have went in my top 5, but I believe that the houses that I picked were better.
I feel that. I think a number 3 for me would be Triplets of Terror.
Okay.
And we already discussed it, but bring that house back at some point, not next year. Give us a chance to digest it, but play the podcast, the news segment, play it in line so that people can understand what they're getting ready to go through. If they would have heard it in line when you go in, the very first scene that you see, you would have already known exactly where, what this story is, where you are.
Yeah.
So Triplets of Terror number 3 was one of my favorite originals I've ever gone through, for sure. Number 2 would be Slaughter Cinema from Orlando. Slaughter Cinema was so dope just because of the fact that they took these B-rated horror films
that they created,
but they put you right in the middle of it. And they also built it on all types of shit going on. Like the first room was Mardi Gras. The next room, I think, was like Christmas. And the next thing you know, you were in a zombie-ridden strip club. Remember that scene? Yeah. Like all of that was crazy. And that looked like, that in particular scene looked like it was something preserved from After Hours Nightmare.
Sidebar. The movie-based haunt at Not Scary Farm.
We did go to Not Scary Farm.
I believe that was better than Slaughter Cinema.
It was very good.
Because it was more like portals that we were going through.
And you went through the movie screen.
Yeah.
When you went through there, it was dope. And I think coming in at number 1, it's really a tie, and I'm going to have to mention both, but Texas Chainsaw Massacre was great. Just a classic Slaughter. HHN house, a lot of detail, a lot of smells, very immersive. And it just like shout out to them Asian people that got their shit scared out of them right in front of us. That was hilarious. Dude was on the floor.
Man, I'm like, bro, get your ass up, man.
The line got held up, and I was like, what happened? Craig looked back. The dude was on the floor. And I think tied with the number one spot is Nightmare Trilogy. Here's what I think about Nightmare Trilogy.
Okay.
I do. And this is why. After Hours Nightmare was definitely scary, but After Hours Nightmare was more fun. Nightmare Trilogy definitely had a bigger feeling of darkness to it. When I came out of the other end of After Hours Nightmare, I was jamming and I was like, damn, that was turned up. I really enjoyed it. That's where I was.
Okay.
It was fun. It was detailed. I really enjoyed it. It was dope. But Nightmare Trilogy had a couple of scenes where I felt uneasy going through there.
It was a little grotesque.
Yeah, and it's The Weeknd. I listen to The Weeknd all the time, but like going through there, it was just a little different, man. It was a lot darker. There were a few scenes that were just, and it tells the story of the album. The very beginning was still After Hours, and then the rest of it was heavy on Dawn FM, which is where he's in purgatory.
I like.
So that's why and that's why that scene that said Club Death.
Yeah.
He was in purgatory during.
I just wish I don't think they did. No, they didn't. I wish they would have played Is There Someone Else? Is there someone else?
Because I'm right.
Man, that's my shit.
Yeah, definitely. Though that would be my top 5. I feel like LA overall beat Orlando for me this year.
Oh yeah. Yeah, LA took the cake.
LA ran it. LA ran it scare zone wise, house wise. LA all day long.
Like I was so obsessed with Orlando. Excuse me. I was so obsessed with Orlando, especially after doing both over the past
however many years.
This number 11. It's year 11. Yeah, I was so obsessed with doing both. But Orlando always did it for me. But now, after doing them 2 weeks apart, yeah, Orlando is definitely the more family-friendly version. And they're just like, okay, bring the kids, bring grandma, bring grandpa.
Right.
Come give us the money.
Right.
LA's also saying, come give us the money, but LA's saying, we about to give you a heart attack. We about to send you in a cardiac arrest, everything.
Yeah. Shout out to them actors that they had in the Skull Lord scare zone.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the park. They had a squad. That the actors that they had in that scare zone were intense, and I know that their training was intense. Their timing was on point. They know how to walk on stilts and divide that crowd like that, because you would think that people would move out the way for you, but some people are just bold and they'll stand right there. But their timing was on point. Their improvisation skills were on point. That scare zone won it for me, especially on a scare zone tip.
Okay, look. I think it's interesting how LA does the opening ceremonies like every 45 minutes.
I think so.
In Orlando,
45 to an hour.
And Orlando only does it at the beginning of the night.
Mm-hmm.
That was interesting to me.
Well, I think it's dope. You got that many, like a high influx of people coming in, and it makes sense to give everybody that same show. So if you weren't there at 5:30 when HHN started, if you coming in at 8:30, it's still you coming in on the beginning.
Exactly. Now, I know I'm probably...
And shout out to the Death Eaters also.
Yes.
The Death Eaters.
Yes.
Crazy.
So I know I'm probably going to get lit up for this in the comments. I do troll back before y'all start on me. But they can have 10 houses in LA. The reason I say that is
in addition to the Terror Tram?
Yes.
Okay.
The reason I say that is because think about it. When we went to Monsters Eternal Bloodlines, it was in a soundstage that's big enough for 3 houses.
That's very true.
So look at it like this.
That's very true.
You know, give us, let's just say, one more IP, one more original, right?
Right.
Put them right next to each other in the same soundstage, because that soundstage was empty outside of the Bloodlines house.
And Weekend shared with another house. So it's not impossible.
We can share the sound stage with Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah. So it's not impossible.
No, so yeah, give us 10 houses. John Murdy, if you're listening, man.
Yeah, John, we're gonna email this episode to you, so you know.
Give us 10. And like I said, I know for a fact in the comments and on Twitter, they probably about to, man, you're already tripping. Guess what?
We might both be tripping because I thought Major Sweets was ass.
Ass juice, cuz.
I thought it was. I thought it was bad. I didn't like it.
I'll take Major.
I tried, bro. I tried, but I did not like it. I don't like all that cute shit. Stop it.
So look,
it's Halloween Horror Nights. People trying to get scared, bro.
I'll take Major Sweets over Sisters of the Cover any day, though.
Oh yeah, no. Spirits of the Cover was bad too. I feel horrible, but it's the truth.
Like,
it was bad.
Now it just sounds like we complaining. It is what it is, though.
And the thing is we love this event, but we've also seen
the good and the bad.
The good and the bad. Every event comes with good things and bad things. And I just thought Major Sweets was not the move. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it got me a couple times in there too, but
it gave me like Bugs Eating Alive. Was it Bugs Eating Alive?
Bugs Eating
Alive. It gave me that vibe just with candy.
Yeah. It was cool. I think the concept of it was cool, but I don't know. It didn't drive for me. Honorable mention, shout out to Monsters of Latin America and shout out to Monstros 2.
Hey, Monstros 2 was dope.
In LA.
That is my 6-man Monstros 2.
Monsters of Latin America was such a dope house last year when I went through it in LA. So when they said that they were going to sequel it and then give Orlando Part 1, I was like, oh, this is perfect because then everybody gets to see a house that was so slept on. So
I really like Part 2.
Shout out to Latin America.
And like I appreciate Part 2 even more because I had watched the YouTube episode where Marty was talking about it. And how this this little coal miner that down on his luck financially, he made a deal with El Kakoi.
Right. Yeah. No, it's definitely very, very dark.
So it added layers to it.
I got another question for you. Since we talking about things that are a little more dark, and then we really hit on the scare zones for a second. Orlando gave us 2 new icons this year. Sinister and Surreal.
Yeah.
I would like to know where you are with Sinister and Surreal. What's your thoughts on that?
So I like how they were a part of every scare zone, just like how Oddfellow was.
True.
How they had something to do with everything. I didn't really look into the lore of them all that much because when they first announced them, I was like, whatever.
Right.
It just didn't reel me in the way Oddfellow did. So with them, I honestly have to dig more into it.
I feel like I think Orlando should have taken just a little bit more time with the development of the story and everything. I also feel like Orlando could benefit from doing the opening ceremony over and over and over again throughout the night so that everybody gets an encounter with Sinister and Surreal. If you weren't there at the very beginning, then you see these two in the scare zones, but you don't necessarily know the storyline behind them. For us, we HHN stands. We love the event. So we'll go online and do the extra digging and work to learn what the story is behind them. But some people just like to come and go to the event, and I don't think that those people will, essentially know the lore behind them.
Yeah, see, me, like I said, they just didn't captivate me like Oddfellow did. So I won't place any fault on Orlando. Mm-hmm. It was a me thing.
I just think like they were very good. They were very entertaining. Like those 2 actresses were on point. They were great. But I do think that there just needs to be like a little more built up around them to push it. Because they'll probably end up having, I could see them having like a house, the Demon Queen scare zone. Yeah. I could see that being a house at some point. That'd be a cool original.
Okay, let's talk Universal Monsters.
All right, let's do it.
Because this is the first year I was like, I don't know.
Not too much, you already. Not too much.
I know,
not too
bro.
much.
Yeah, they gonna say, oh, dude.
That's when they come for you for real.
Well, you know me, I'm a fan of the monsters, bro.
I mean, I thought Bloodlines in Orlando was dope.
I was excited for Bloodlines. See, Orlando, I was like, I liked LA's a lot more, but it just didn't. I didn't get the same emotional drive that I had from the last few of them. Specifically, Legends Collide. That was my favorite one out of the last 3 years.
Legends Collide was dope. It was very good. I mean, I get what you're saying. I thought that Bloodlines in Orlando flowed very well in terms of the actual maze itself, the detail, and the storytelling.
See, for me,
you got that story immediately in the very first room in Orlando.
Someone when she was praying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got the story immediately.
See, for me, LA did that more because they think about like the black walls, but they had like the comic pages on the wall.
Exactly. Like a storybook type situation.
That's why I like LA's better.
I thought it was dope. I'm not sure exactly where they'll go with the Universal Monsters from here. Or is that the end of it with
I think it is
Epic
done.
Universe coming into play? Like
I think it's done because for one, like you said, Epic Universe, but also the Universal Monsters house that are gonna be in Vegas.
I keep forgetting about Unleashed.
Yeah, so you got Universal Monsters, you got The Reaping, Exorcist Believer, still better than the movie. Coming down that hill. I forgot the fourth house.
I can't even say that I've looked into it as much as I probably should, just so I can learn my stuff.
But now flights from St. Louis to Vegas are surged like crazy.
Crazy.
I should have bought it.
I also really enjoyed the museum.
Yeah,
I don't want to end this episode and not give them some flowers because that was a dope house.
The museum was dope. The costumes were dope.
Yeah,
I like the fact that this rotting stone, anything that it came in contact with, it was over.
It was very cool. Very cool house. And I can't think of, did we miss one from Orlando that we... Ghostbusters. Oh, come on, Yurdy. Ghostbusters was lit, bro.
It was a fun house. That's what it was. It was a fun house.
Yeah. That's exactly what it was supposed to be. That's what it was supposed to be taken as. But I will say, the level of detail inside the Orlando Ghostbusters house, top tier.
Now look, don't get me wrong.
Top tier.
Don't get me wrong. It had elements from the first two and also Frozen Empire.
Right.
But I knew what to expect. I knew I was getting fun, but I thought that it would be a little bit more creepy.
Because this one was based off Frozen Empire.
Yeah, like I said, but it had elements from Ghostbusters 1 and 2, like the Devil Dogs.
Right. I mean, you know, you're going to have that fun house every year. Like, we'll see what the fun house will be this year. I will say, shout out to Horror Nights LA with the Terror Tram. I feel that they definitely leveled up a ton with the Blumhouse Terror Tram this year, making sure that we did not go through Jupiter's Claim from Nope, which is cool. We love doing it, but we did it so many times in the past. And to come right off the tram and to get thrown into this Blumhouse world, and it was on. It was Megan, then what? Freaky, then The Purge.
Yeah,
and it was very intense all the way through. Yeah, and the Black Phone too. So I thought Terror Tram this year was on point. No complaints.
You know what? I still want that Freddy house.
I hope we get it.
Well, I mean,
I really do hope we get it. I don't know what the licensing situation is with that though.
It just, I don't know. Maybe it just wasn't in the cards. Maybe it didn't fit the aesthetic of what they were going for.
I mean, Insidious was, that and A Quiet Place were like the bangers.
We're gonna get Tales from the Crypt next year.
That'd be lit.
I won't be mad.
I would love to get Killer Clowns from Outer Space back.
Nope, I'm gonna pass.
I wanted to come back.
I'm gonna pass.
I never experienced it.
It's too soon.
I mean, I'm not saying we will get it next year, but that would be dope. Right now, going into the early portions of spec season, I don't even know what to expect. I don't know. What movies have been out that are big enough that we could, potentially see it at Horror Nights? Like, we don't. It's just so early right now.
Long Legs.
I can see Long Legs.
Like, okay, like if they go back into demon possessions, I could see the first Omen.
That'd be dope too.
Like I told you, man, when I went to go see,
you pulling some wild cards though. I don't know if they're gonna do it.
I'm for real, bro. Like I told you, when I went to go see it, I'm like, this shit is crazy already.
Yeah, no, definitely crazy.
Like, dude had a gash in his head, bro.
Is this the end of the music artists?
No.
At Horror Nights?
Nah. I'm still going down that hill of Lady Gaga.
I don't know why they won't do it. I think they could do it. I think they could pull it off, and she has a music catalog that is dark enough to push that. Everybody wants them to get Ice 9 Kills. That'd be cool, but I'd rather have Motionless in White if we're gonna go in that route.
Yeah, I like Ice 9 Kills, but
I'd rather have Motionless in White.
Okay, how can I say this? Told y'all don't come for me, I throw it back. But I hate saying I feel like because my emotion ain't in it. But I believe that with Ice 9 Kills, they give me a Panic at the Disco vibe.
Musically.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Do you feel like that would not mess up, but like it would present a bigger challenge in trying to push a haunted house narrative? I feel.
Yeah, I mean, of course, they made the song for the Terrifier 3, but it still sounds like Panic at the Disco met Kiss.
I feel like I definitely see what you're saying because if the music can't push it, it's just like you go to a show. If the music isn't hitting, the crowd won't get into it.
Exactly.
So I do see what you're saying. I feel like with Motionless in White, I think I listen to them a whole lot more. But I just think that their stuff just has that.
It has that feel.
It has that feel. Like Motionless in White could be a house at HHN, or they could also produce Nightmare Fuel at HHN. They could go either way.
Yeah, that's just like I can't see I Prevail making the music or having a house.
Right.
As much as I love
it's just certain things like when they tried to get Billie Eilish, that would have been cool for that era in time, but she's not doing that type of music anymore. Mm-hmm. So you got to pull people
she's still fine. That's another story though.
See what happens though.
Oh man, yeah. It would have been dope to have Billie.
I think Weeknd really set the tone. I think they should definitely consider Lady Gaga, if not her. Motionless in White, and if not a house, like I said, get them on the Nightmare Fuel team because Nightmare Fuel was a banger this year, and it was on point. But you have to continue to build.
I think they should move on from Nightmare Fuel.
Go ahead.
So, like, it can still be the Fuel Girls, but it's a completely different story.
Right. That'd be, yeah.
So, like,
as long as they keep the same intensity, because the crowd flocks for that. They love Nightmare Fuel.
And of course, keep the staff getting us hyped before that.
Yeah, shout out to the Universal staff. Like, that was cool because that probably wasn't even in the description like that to do that.
For real.
That was on
and they had me going. Well, the second night, because the first night we was all tired of shit.
Yeah, and, I was worn out.
And Shauna was done.
Yeah, that was rough. Well, man, look, this has been a great episode. As spec season continues, we are going to speculate here at Toxic Icon. Make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss any of that. We want you to speculate with us.
And also, since we talking haunted houses, make sure that you are at GhoulieCon in July.
Yep.
We are a part of the Scream team.
We're helping to put this event on. It'll be July 11th through the 13th, 2025 in Newport, Kentucky, just outside of Cincinnati.
Y'all know what it is. Once again, it's your boy Yerdy G.
Nick White.
And this has been another episode of Toxic Icon Podcast. Like you said, like, subscribe, comment, tell your mom, dad, goldfish, great granny, pastor, everybody.
Tell them all.
And as always, stay toxic.
Art.
Blue money. 1, 2, I'm Yerdy G and I'm coming for you.